Yes, people, I am back from a little bit of a break. Um, I had a bit of a break for Christmas, wanted to give myself a bit of time off, and then I got ill. I'm still ill, if you can probably hear. Um, but I thought I just needed to get back to it. I needed to get out of bed and start making content again, especially with the January transfer window coming up. So we will be back making consistent videos now, so be expecting that. And today we've got kind of a January transfer window priority list. We're going to look at the squad, look at some of the holes in the squad, and what I would prioritize in January, and then kind of maybe talk a little bit about what I'd do in the summer. But we're going to start by just kind of reviewing the holes in the squad. We're going to talk about some of the outgoings as well, and all the business that I want us to get done in January, pretty much. So if you are new around here, please do subscribe. We're so close to 7,000 subscribers. Hoping to hit 10K in the next 2 or 3 months, probably 2 months actually. So please do subscribe, share the video as well, and let me know which players you want us to sign in January. Without further ado, let's get into it. So here you can see pretty much all of our current first team squad on the page. It's all looking a bit messy right now, so I'm going to try and kind of talk about some of the outgoings first and who I would kind of get rid of before we kind of go into some of the incomings. So I think the first one to start with, we know that Brennan Johnson is probably going out of the club. Sorry. I think this is the right time. I've spoken about this a little bit on other platforms, but I think Johnson is a player that needs technical ability around him to really be able to carry him, because he's so kind of limited in that way, and you want him to only be finishing off moves. But I think because we're so lacking in controlling of games, we're so lacking that kind of technical security around him, I don't think we can get the best out of him, because he has to put his weight in terms of on the ball productivity. So I think Johnson being sold is the right move at this point. I think it's quite clear that Basuma will also be leaving. I was always a big fan of Basuma when he was on it. I think his consistency was lacking, and obviously he's got some off the pitch stuff going on. So that one, pretty self-explanatory. Ben Davies, 100% the right time to part ways with him. I'm still shocked that we are relying on him in 2025, going into 2026. I think this left side is so key, because we only really now have two left footers in defence. If you look at moving Davis on, we've got Udogie and Van der Ven, and that is nowhere near enough, which we'll come on to. I see Spence as a right back in this system, that's for sure. So I would be looking to bring in a left back, like I said. So I put Spence on the right side. We've got a lot of right-sided centre backs, with Vuskovic out on loan as well. So I'd be looking to move one of these on. I see Taka as a bit of a project player. Danso is obviously Romero's deputy. I think Dragusin, 100% the right time to move on from him. It looks like he's being linked to Serie A as well. So let's assume that might go through. We are quite heavily loaded up front, but not much guaranteed quality there. It's a bit up in the air with the striker. I would leave this and kind of let them battle it out. Solanke getting fit again, Muani maybe coming into some form. Richarlison is on good form at the moment. I would loan or maybe even sell Dane Scarlett. I just don't see him making it here, so I'd put him on that side as well. The midfield is looking a little bit bloated as well. I'm trying to run through this quickly so we can get into the incomings and the more exciting parts. And quickly to caveat, I just also want to say that, we don't know what's going to happen with this manager, whether we will be kind of continuing with him next season. So these signings are holes that are there regardless of manager. I don't think we're kind of signing specific players for this manager. I think there's holes in the squad that, regardless of who the manager is, need to be filled, and that's pretty clear to me. So the midfield, this is probably the most difficult area of the pitch to assess. We have three younger players here. Sar's slightly older than them, and then we have two more senior players who have been pretty poor, I would say. I know people would disagree on Polinia, but that's how I feel about it. Let's ignore Polinia for now because he's on loan, and it looks like, to me, we're not going to make that permanent. I would assume we don't make that permanent. So I'm just going to get rid of him for now. Don't worry, I'm not terminating his loan. We're talking about squad building here. And And then we've got Bentancur, who just signed a new contract. We've got Sarr, Bergvall, and Gray. Now, all three of these to me look like number eights at the moment. I think they're all runners. They're all capable at passing in different ways, but none of them are passing specialists. The same could be said about Bentancur. I think Bentancur out of these guys is the best at receiving it in the first phase, but still struggles. Very negative, I'd say, on the ball, and hides quite a lot. Bergvall, too risky, I'd say, in his play and a bit unreliable in that first phase. Gray, I think, looks a little bit stiff on the turn. And Sarr, I think, technically isn't there to be able to receive in that first phase. So that's a big issue. So we'll talk about that. This is all just January, right? So we're just talking about January for now. We've got, on this left side, we've got Odobert and Tel. Ioane's also played out there. Xavi Simons has played out there. Maddison in pre-season played out there. So we've got quite a lot of players who can play out there. The right side, we've got Kudus and Kulusevski, which if Kulusevski can get back to his best, that is an insane amount of brilliant depth over there. We know Kulusevski can play in the 10 as well. So that's where I see the squad in my head right now. There's two major holes. And one hole that we could talk about. So I think let's start with a lot of people's priority, not mine, but I think a lot of people's priority is left wing. I don't see left wing as a problem. I see getting the ball to the final third is part of the reason the left wingers are struggling so much. I still really rate Odobert, and I think if he got a run of games, I think he would make that left wing role his own in time. And I think we have the capabilities in filling other areas of the pitch that will allow Odobert to grow and Tel as well. I think if we fill these other areas of the pitch, the team will look more complete, look more rounded, and those left wingers will start to improve their performances. I think what we're providing for them at the moment is them feeding off scraps, a lot of transition moments, a lot of kind of bitty attacking phases, attacking patterns that I just don't think is really helping them grow, and they're not really getting a run of games. We've got Mikey Moore to return. We've got Maddison to return. We've got Xavi Simons who can play out there. We've potentially got Kulusevski to return, who means that Kudus could potentially play out there. Ioane's played out there. Richarlison's played out there. I think there's a lot of depth there that I don't think needs to be solved in January. I think left winger is a position we look to in the summer. We look at Tel's development, we look at Odobert's development, we look at how Maddison returns, we look at how Kulusevski returns, and then we think about that in the summer. We don't want to panic and buy another left winger and block pathways of Mikey Moore, pathways of Odobert, pathways of Tel. I just think that's not one to panic on. Where I would be panicking, this is panic. This is real panic. Like, you can't have two left-footed defenders in the whole squad, let alone two that have struggled for injury in their past. Van de Ven, of course, has been stayed fit this season. Udogie cannot stay fit, so we pretty much don't have a natural left-back in the squad. Obviously, Spencer's played there, but he's really limited there because of his footedness. So, left-back, priority. If you can sign, let's just put an imaginary player in here. If you can sign a player that can play both left back and left centre back, that is the dream. I'm thinking Nathan Ake. I'm thinking Dejan Matali of Toulouse, who much less experienced, so that's a bit of a project player, but can certainly grow to be that hybrid player. I'm thinking luxury Castello Luqueba. If you can sign someone that can cover both those roles, brilliant. Perfect January signing. I think Nathan Ake makes a lot of sense. That is a priority, a left-sided defender. If you can't sign the hybrid one, then you're going to have to have two. You're going to have to sign a left centre back and a left back. Priority for me is left back because I do think Romero could do a job there. Danso too probably could play left centre back. So I think left back is the priority. There's no one who is natural at playing that role, and we cannot rely on Udogie. Left back has to come in my opinion. That would be the first point of call for me. The second signing that I think is priority. So in my head, we need a left back badly. Ideally, you get someone who can play left centre back as well. But that doesn't make left centre-back priority for me. I think left centre-back can be dealt with in the summer if you get a traditional left back and you leave Van der Ven as the only left-footed centre-back. I think Romero can cover. So I think left back is first priority. Second priority for me has to be a first phase midfielder. Has to be someone that can receive it off the back line and progress play, whether that's progressing play through carrying, whether that's progressing play through passing. Has to be a ball player in midfield. I'm thinking carriers. I'm thinking Manu Kone. I'm thinking, who else is there? I'm thinking Keith Schmidt, who's a bit more of a project player. Alex Garcia, ready-made passer. You've got Ruben Neves, who some people like. I'm not so sure. And Locatelli. But these kind of players who are ball players in midfield who can help get us ticking, because these guys are really incapable of doing that. They really are. I think Gray is the closest, but there's still work to be done with him. He said himself he likes to play number 8 and have the license to go forward. We need someone who's constantly going to get us playing from this area. I think that has to be second priority. And to be honest, those are the 2 signings I would prioritise in January. I wouldn't really do much else. I would get 2 guaranteed upgrades to what we have in those areas. Guaranteed, the midfielder has to be a guaranteed upgrade. Has to be someone who's going to walk into our team, because that is something that needs addressing. The left back, I think I would allow it to be a more project player. I think hopefully Doggy can get back fit, and then we have a project underneath him. He's still a bit of a project, obviously, with his fitness, but I think having 2 good left backs battling out is absolutely fine. This player has to be a guaranteed upgrade. Then I think in the summer, we can look to think about the striker position, think about the left wing position, think about the left centre-back position, and think about the goalkeeper position. So that would be, I'd do left back and midfielder in January, and then I'd do left wing, striker, left centre-back, and goalkeeper in the summer. That doesn't mean buy all those players in the summer, it's review them and think about whether we do need to buy someone new for those roles. I think that is exactly how this club should operate in the next 2 windows. I want to know what the club are thinking going for a left winger over those 2 things. That's just what we're hearing, but I think that is negligence. I really, really do. I think there's so many bigger problems than left wing. We can't even get the ball to the final third to allow a left winger to perform. I want to make a prediction that if we do sign a left winger in 2 months' time, people will call them a flop, because they're feeding off scraps. And part of the reason they're feeding off scraps is because we're missing a left-footed left back and we're missing a ball player in midfield. So that is where I'm at. But let me know if you guys agree. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe. Please do share the video, like the video. And Happy New Year to everyone. Go and celebrate. Go and be hungover for tomorrow's game. It might make it worse, but it is New Year, so please do enjoy yourself. And come on, you Spurs.